Hey guys, how are you? I hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is a horror film from South Korea. Korean language English subs, released in the year 2016, directed by Hong Ji-na, and this film is called The Wailing. So The Wailing is about this small village that has been rocked by a murder. You've got this man who's murdered his family for no apparent reason. So the man investigating these crimes, he starts to suspect something is really wrong because a few other crimes have happened that are very identical. So the village have been rocked by violence. The villagers believe that it has something to do with the arrival of an elderly Japanese man who lives on the outskirts of this village, and so they've got a lot of animosity towards him. So they can't prove it's him, so this policeman is trying to gather evidence to suggest that maybe it is him, or just to find out what's going on. But that ultimately leads him down a path of discovery that is very, very terrifying, that I'm not going to give away. So if you want to know how the movie unfolds, please go out there and see it for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on The Wailing. This is one of my most anticipated films of 2016 because of the fact it's Hong Ji-na. Now Hong Ji-na was responsible for The Yellow Sea and also The Chaser, which are two very acclaimed South Korean films that I actually really appreciated because they were very interesting, and I thought the pacing of those films were very good, even though they were very long movies. So coming into The Wailing, I was so excited to see what else Hong Ji-na could build, and considering this is more of a horror film than his other two movies are very dark, but they were more thriller type of films, but this movie was a much more of a horror film, so I was very, very excited to see what he had on offer, and thankfully I will say that he does not disappoint on this occasion. I think this is one of the most unnerving experiences I've had in a long time in a horror movie, and I think that is down to the fact that it's a very long movie. Now it goes for 2.5 hours, and you might initially think to yourself that's a little bit of a turn off, that I don't want to sit and watch a movie of 2.5 hours because no doubt it's going to get boring. And I will say that there are moments in the runtime where I felt like it could have been edited a little bit, and it could have been a little bit faster, but for the majority of it I thought it captured my attention from start to finish, and it was just, as I said, a very unnerving experience. The overall atmosphere to this film is very, very dark. It has a very dark heart, it has a very cruel heart, and that is very reminiscent of his two other films. These movies don't promise a happy outcome, so because of that you don't know where Hong Ji-na is going to take you, and I think the level of mystery to this film is what captures the audience, and the director is throwing a little bit of bait out at the audience, and the audience is taking that bait. So it feels like the director is actually directing these viewers as well. He's captured you, he's put his hand around your throat, and he's not going to let go until the end. And then when you actually see the end, you think to yourself you've been on a roller coaster of emotions, because there are many genres that are put into this film, and I thought they were put into it masterfully, because there is no more than one specific genre at one specific moment. So at the start of the film, you get a little bit of comedic relief. I was very surprised by how funny this movie was, especially one guy who keeps having bad luck that I'm not going to give away, but thought that was very funny. But then it slowly gets into a murder mystery style of film where the comedic elements are non-existent, and then it goes straight into a horror element. So you know what's going on, and this is where the horror is actually taking place. So it feels like different segments for a different genre, and I think it mixes in very well to give you an overall experience instead of just a straight out horror film such as The Conjuring 2, where it was all about scare after scare after scare, and you become desensitized to the scares. But in this movie, because you got that slow build up, because you get to know these characters, when the scary stuff happens it's even more scary because these characters are relatable enough for you to actually go on the journey with them. So I really like that. It just felt like a massive ball of mystery that slowly unravels, and it's elevating itself, it's promising a massive finale, and it does deliver that massive finale. This movie will not be forgotten very easy because, as I said, it has a very cruel heart, and it threatens to destroy everything that you've seen in Hollywood horror where it is happily ever after. So Hong Ji-na is a master at what he does, and this is another clear example. So I thought the acting was fantastic. For each specific genre, I thought these characters were well within their comfort zone, and I think that is down to the fact that this is very well written as well. I love the mysterious quality with this Japanese elderly man. I thought he was very creepy, but because everything is hidden so well, you don't know if you're onto something or if it's just paranoia, if you've gone on a wild goose chase. And so because of the dangerous presence around every corner and coming at you from every direction, you feel very, very uncomfortable. So it works very well as a horror film. It is very dark, and as I said, very, very, very creepy. There are a few scenes in this film that I thought were expertly done, and it just showcases why South Korea is so good at what they do, because they're not afraid to tackle long films and give you that slow progression of something going from bad to very, very bad, but it doesn't do it very quickly. quickly. It does have the time and attention to the details, and it shows you a very patient build-up. And that patient build-up slowly goes under your skin, and it slowly causes the hair on the back of your neck to stand up. So it's a very slow, very patient build-up. I thought the visuals played effect to the psychology of the movie. The visuals start off as light at the start, you know, when you've got this false sense of security that this village is a happy village, but then as it slowly gets darker and the psychology gets darker, it's matched by the visuals. So it feels like what you're feeling inside is being put onto the screen. So it translates very, very well. And once again, Hong Jin-na is very well known for doing this because it is very reminiscent in his other films. I thought the violence was there, but it's very shocking violence, but it's very much aftermath violence. You don't actually get to see it happen, which I think really plays well for what it wanted to be. It wanted to be a mystery, and I think if it showed you explicitly what happens, it gives away that little mystery. So I thought Hong Jin-na deliberately did the aftermath, which was very shocking, but there's always that cloud of mystery that keeps you guessing, and it's that cloud of mystery that is necessary for the length of this film to work. And so by the end of it, as I said, there are moments where I thought it could have been edited a little bit, and that's what prevents it from being an absolutely flawless film, is that a lot of people are going to be put off by the fact it's 2.5 hours. And as I said, it could have been 2 hours, and it would have been a lot better, because there is build-up, there's very good build-up, but just when you think it's made its point at that particular moment, it starts to go on just a little bit longer. But as I said, it elevates itself at a very satisfactory level. The acting was very good, soundtrack really matched the overall emotion. There were some funny moments, there were some deeply tragic, emotional moments. That's where the drama came in. Suspense, and there's a straight-out terror at the end. You'd never know what the hell is going on. It's a crazy film, but at the end of it, you're going to be very happy that you actually watched it. So if you are a fan of South Korean cinema, this one is absolutely essential viewing, and as a result of that, I'm going to give The Wailing 4.5 stars. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.